Good evening. Today my topic is ameloblastoma, guided by Dr. Bhushan sir. Ameloblastoma is important clinically as well as theoretically. Clinically, it is important because it has a high recurrence rate, and theoretically, it is important because it is second most common odontogenic tumor, and it is the most common odontogenic tumor in the Asian subcontinent. So the questions asked under ameloblastoma are: define ameloblastoma, give clinical and radiological features, and the most important part about ameloblastoma is the surgical management. So let's go to the definition. Definition is given by Robinson. Ameloblastoma is defined as unicentric, non-functional, intermittent in growth, anatomically benign and clinically persistent odontogenic tumor. It is a true neoplasm of enamel organ origin tissue. It is the second most common odontogenic tumor. The etiological factors that contribute to the development of ameloblastoma are cell rest of dental lamina, cell rest of serous, cell rest of Malaise, Hertwig's root sheath epithelium, epithelium of odontogenic cyst, mainly dendritic cyst and odontomas, basal cell surface of epithelium of the jaw, disturbance in developing enamel organ, heterotropic epithelium in the body parts, in the pituitary gland. So the pathogenesis is explained in this diagram. As you can see, ameloblastoma can develop from the lining of the dentigious cyst. It can also develop from the cells of dental lamina. The clinical features of ameloblastoma are: ameloblastoma can occur throughout the life at any age. It is more commonly seen in third, fourth, and fifth decade. It is more common in males. It is more common in black population. It occurs most frequently in the posterior mandibular region. Ameloblastoma is more common in mandible than maxilla. In mandible, molar ramus region is more common than the premolar and the anterior region. Ameloblastoma is slow growing, painless, bony hard swelling causing the facial asymmetry. It may be if it is infected or if it impinges on the nerve. Large ameloblastomas can cause oral ulcerations and tooth mobility. Expansion of cortical plate, which gives eggshell crackling, is a feature of ameloblastoma. Infiltration of medullary spaces causes erosion of the cortical bone. This is why there is recurrence of ameloblastoma. Pain or paresthesia can occur if the tumor impinges on the nerve. So you can see the molar ramus region is more commonly affected than the premolar and the anterior region. The molar ramus region is affected 3 times more than any other region. In this, you can see the intraoral features, that is, there is oral ulceration, there is malocclusion, and you can see there is facial asymmetry and discomfort. The clinical variants of ameloblastoma, there are 5 clinical variants of ameloblastoma. The multicystic or the conventional ameloblastoma is the most common type, followed by unicystic. Unicystic ameloblastoma is also common in the posterior ramus region. It is usually associated with impacted third molar. Peripheral or extraosseous variant occurs in the soft tissue. It doesn't involve bone. Then there can be malignant and pituitary variant as well. The histological types of ameloblastoma, there are 6 histological types of ameloblastoma. They are follicular, plexiform, acanthomatous, granular, basal cell, and desmoplastic. Among this, desmoplastic is it is more destructive. The radiographic features of ameloblastoma, radiographic features are more important, and it is asked as the SAQ. It presents as a unilocular or multilocular radiolucency in different forms and shapes. It is usually well circumscribed and well defined radiolucency. 50% of the time the radiolucency is multilocular, 2 times it is peripheral, and 6% of the times it is unicystic lesion. The multilocular radiolucency can be seen as honeycomb or a soap bubble appearance. This is a characteristic feature of ameloblastoma. Then there can be root resorption and tooth displacement due to the large size of ameloblastoma. Small and unilocular or multilocular lesion may be seen in association with the unerupted tooth. Buccolingual cortical expansion can be seen. This can be seen as the hollowing out appearance. So these are the main radiological features. You can see soap bubble appearance if there is large loculations. If the loculations that are present in the ameloblastoma are of bigger size, we can see soap bubble appearance. And if the loculations are in smaller size, then honeycomb appearance is seen. And then there is a unicystic type also. So moving forward, you all can see the unicystic, the soap bubble, and the multilocular appearance. So in this diagram, the figure A represents unicystic ameloblastoma associated with unerupted mandibular third molar. The figure B shows honeycomb appearance, figure C shows soap bubble appearance, and again figure D shows honeycomb appearance of ameloblastoma. Moving forward to investigations, the main investigation for an ameloblastoma is the radiographic investigation. Mostly orthopentomograph is usually enough to distinguish ameloblastoma, as soap bubble appearance and honeycomb appearance can be easily seen. Then biopsy, CT scan, and MRI can also be done. The differential diagnosis for ameloblastoma is usually OKC, aneurysmal bone cyst, ameloblastic fibroma, odontogenic myxoma, giant cell lesions, brown tumor of hyperparathyroidism. So the untreated cases of ameloblastoma, there is usually discomfort and there is difficulty in swallowing, difficulty in breathing. So treatment is important in case of ameloblastoma. The principles of management of ameloblastoma are complete eradication of the lesion, followed by the complete eradication should be done with safety margin so that there is no recurrence of the lesion. Then curettage cannot be a treatment option for ameloblastoma as the recurrence rate is high. Then radiotherapy cannot be used for ameloblastoma as ameloblastoma is radio-resistant, and the reconstruction of resultant defect should be done as ameloblastoma is a large lesion. So the main treatment modalities for ameloblastoma include radical and conservative surgical excision with enucleation, en bloc resection, segmental resection. These three are the main treatment modalities of ameloblastoma. Chemical and electrocautery and chemotherapy are the recent advances in the treatment of ameloblastoma. So simple excision with enucleation. In case of peripheral, hello? So the first treatment modality for ameloblastoma is simple excision enucleation. So this is a treatment of choice when it is a peripheral ameloblastoma. So peripheral ameloblastoma usually involves soft tissues. So the tumors, the main indication for excision enucleation is tumors with expansile growth rather than infiltration. That means the bony compartments are not infiltrated by the tumor, so it can be easily excised, and there is less chances of recurrence. Well-defined lesions with distinct separation from the surrounding tissues. This is also indicated. This is also indication in which there is the recurrence is less. Then tumors with corticated lining. Again, when there is corticated lining, the chances of recurrence are less. So simple excision enucleation can be performed. The second treatment modality is curettage. Curettage is absolutely contraindicated in ameloblastoma because ameloblastoma is an intraosseous multicystic lesion. That is, it involves the calculus as well as corticated part of the bone. So if we perform curettage, there are many chances that the lesion is left behind and there can be recurrence. So curettage is contraindicated. The second most important modality for en bloc resection for ameloblastoma is en bloc resection. It is also known as marginal resection. So this means the removal of the tumor with a rim of uninvolved bone, but maintaining the continuity of the jaw. So the main part about the marginal resection is the continuity of the bone is maintained. This is a frequently used treatment option. The indications for en bloc resection are recurrent lesion previously treated by enucleation, incompletely encapsulated or tendency to grow beyond the surgical apparent capsule. Kramer in 1963 reported that although there is a diffuse invasion of the calculus spaces of the bone marrow by the finger-like projection, it does not invade the Haversian system of the compact bone. And so en bloc resection can be done with maintaining the continuity of the bone. But the basic requirement of an en bloc resection is that 1 to 2 mm margin of the bone beyond the radiographic limit is should be resected with the tumor, so that the number of recurrence is reduced. So now in this diagram you can see on the right side, figure A shows marginal mandibulectomy. That is, this is en bloc resection because the continuity of the jaw is maintained, whereas in the figure B you can see that the entire segment of the bone through and through is removed. So this is known as segmental mandibulectomy. So let's go to segmental mandibulectomy. It means the removal of maxilla or mandible up to hemisection or more. It includes hemimaxillectomy and hemimandibulectomy. These are the most commonly used treatment. Indications of segmental resection are lesions with infiltrative tendency, extension closer to the inferior border of the mandible, maxilla, or in the nasal cavity. So the recurrence rate is also high. Lesions with the chances of postoperative fractures. After segmental resection, there are least chances of recurrence. It is noted that the lesion most likely to recur after the segmental resection are those over 5 centimeter. Then after the resection is done, then the other part of the treatment is the reconstruction. So there can be immediate reconstruction using autogenous free bone graft. Reconstruction plates can be used with or without condylar prosthesis. Condylar prostheses are mainly used in old patients. If sufficient soft tissue is not available for coverage, a vascularized composite pedicle graft can be used. So in this diagram you can see the bony cuts for marginal resection. Marginal resection is the one in which the continuity of the jaw is maintained. So you can see that, and then there is bony cuts for segmental resection. In segmental resection, a complete part of the bone is removed, and so you can see the cuts for marginal segmental resection as well. And then after the removal of the bone, there is reconstruction with plates and screws, and then a denture is given to the patient. So the same thing is explained in this diagram as well. And now we'll go for the treatment guidelines for maxilla. So ameloblastoma in maxilla is rare, but whenever there is ameloblastoma in maxilla, it is more dangerous because there is damage of vital structures like eye. Then there can be cranial base involvement. There can be nasal obstruction, which is one of the most fatal conditions of the ameloblastoma. And there can be eye proptosis. So if the tumor is confined to maxilla without the orbital floor involvement, we can do partial maxillectomy. If there is involvement of periorbital area, then we have to go for total maxillectomy. If the orbital contents are also involved in ameloblastoma, then we have to do orbital extenteration. Orbital extenteration means the removal of eye with all the contents, like the socket and all the nerves. And the tumor involving skull, if the tumor is impinging on the skull, then we have to go for the neurosurgical procedures. Thank you.